Deborah O'Toole, textile artist, and today I'm taking this new piece to a local gallery for a members exhibition. So I thought I'd just show her to you before I pack her up and send her off. Right, so I'll just give you a bit of a close-up look at these pieces. The theme for the exhibition was "This is not the end." That's what the gallery stated as the theme for the exhibition. So I responded to that theme by coming up with a piece that I felt was kind of ethereal, kind of unfinished a little bit. So I've used just circles of fabric that have been naturally dyed, so silk and silk organza. So you can see some of these are sheer. But I've already naturally dyed them, so they already had these lovely prints on them, most of them, and then I had a few plain ones as well. So my idea was to have something that actually looks really quite fragile, really quite almost flimsy, I guess. And all these loose threads hanging down give it a bit of a notion that it's a finished piece, but it's not exactly finished. And I've let the threads hang right down to there. I had quite a bit of interest when I put it on social media as I was making it, so I thought I'd put this one up before it goes to the exhibition. One thing I really like about the piece, I've just got it hanging on a piece of dowel here, is if it's a little bit away from the wall, I'm not sure if you can see, but it creates these beautiful shadows against the wall, so that kind of adds to the ethereal touch of it. If I angle it a little bit this way, perhaps you can see the sequins glittering away there. Yeah, so I had a fair bit of interest on social media during the making of it, and in fact the piece spoke to a particular lady in a very personal way, and she's ended up buying it, which is very exciting. And at the same time, I had another friend reach out and say, "I really love this piece. Can you make me one similar?" So I'll be getting onto that commission in a couple of weeks' time. Interesting, this piece, it's really quite a different technique from what I usually do. What I usually do is a fair bit of machine sewing embroidery, but I haven't used that in this one because I just wanted it to remain really quite light and for the fabrics to really speak for themselves. And I spent most of the time doing the beading. When I bead, I try to keep away from anything that looks very structured. What happened once when I was beading an art piece was that I accidentally spilled a whole lot of beads all over the fabric, and I just loved the way they just kind of fell there. And from then on, I've tried to create areas of beading that just look like they've been thrown there, that haven't been placed in any particular structured order. It's harder than it seems to make it look good, but to make it look random as well. So anyway, that's the piece. My challenge now is to get it packed up carefully and safely. I only have to get this to the local gallery, which is a 20-minute drive down the road. When I send it to the buyer, I've got to send it to the UK from Australia. So I'll definitely be doing a lot more careful packing to ensure that this piece arrives to its final destination safely. Anyway, I'll show you how I'm going to pack this piece for the road trip. Okay, so what I've got here is just a recycled cardboard box. And I've just used a bit of gaffer tape to strengthen these little folds that were in the box. And I've already taped on a little bit of tissue paper for the piece to lay on. I'll be enveloping it into itself with some more tissue paper, and I'll show you that right now. So what I've done is I've laid the piece out as flat and as carefully as I can. And what I'll do now is just use some dressmaking pins to anchor a few points very carefully. I don't want to rip the delicate fabric, but the piece needs to stay in place so it doesn't swing around if it happens to be turned upside down or on its side. So that's what I'll be doing now. And I'm angling the pins sideways so that I can put this top bit of cardboard flat over the top. I don't want it to go exactly flat onto the top of the piece, so the fact that the pins are angled a little bit will hold the cardboard up. I don't want it to be this high up. So I just gave it a little test to make sure that all the bits are more or less stable during the travel. Now what I'm doing is just laying an extra piece of tissue paper over the top, and then these bits, it's almost like I'm tucking her into bed over the sides, so that if any dust or any debris, it won't be able to get into the piece. And I'll just stick these down with a bit of sticky tape. Alright, so that's fairly secure as it is. As you can see, nothing's really moving too much. Ooh. Except for the dowel, but that will be secure once I fold this over to there. And then I'm going to use a little bit more gaffer tape to just make sure the edges are together, and then I'm going to flap around. Alright, so that's not going anywhere. I can hear that nothing's sliding around, and I think she's good to go for the travel. As I said earlier, this piece will be going to the UK, so when the time comes for me to package her up for that trip, I'll be doing a little bit more reinforcing to make sure that it doesn't get wet or damaged on the way. But for the meantime, this is just going 20 minutes down the road to the Umbrella Contemporary Art Studio Gallery in Townsville. And yeah, I will show you some images of the piece up in the gallery. Wish me luck.